Governor Huntsman, as you know, Governor Romney's new economic plan calls for the U.S. government to officially label China a currency manipulator. But the Wall Street Journal editorial page says such a move would cause a trade war, perhaps. You're a former ambassador to China. You have served 4 U.S. presidents. In your view, what does Governor Romney not get about China?
He doesn't get the part that what will fix the U.S.-China relationship, realistically, is fixing our core right here at home. Because our core is weak and it is broken, and we have no leverage at the negotiating table. And I'd have to say, Mitt, now is not the time in a recession to enter a trade war. Ronald Reagan flew this plane. I was in China during the trip in 1984. He went on TV and he spoke to the Chinese people. I'd love to do that, too, in Chinese itself. And he talked in optimistic, glowing terms. And it reminds me about this, Brian. We are the most blue sky, optimistic people on earth. We're going to find solutions. And I have an offer for the 2 great governors over here. And I hate to rain on the parade of the great Lone Star governor, but as governor of Utah, we were the #1 job creator in this country during my years of serving. That was 5.9% when you were creating jobs at 4.9%. And to my good friend Mitt, 47th just ain't going to cut it, my friend. Not when you can be first. We've got to remember that to beat President Obama, we have to have somebody who's been in the private sector, understands the fragility of the free market system, has been a successful governor as it relates to job creation, and knows something about this world. I've lived overseas 4 times. I've been an ambassador for my country 3 times. I think I understand that.
Governor Huntsman, if I could, because at the heart of this is this argument about the individual mandate. Is it ever appropriate for government at any level, federal or state, to force people to buy health insurance?
Absolutely not. You know, at some point, we're going to get around to talking about individual and personal responsibility. And I'm raising 7 kids. I've got a couple of them here. The most important thing we can do in this health care debate, right, Rick, is talk about individual responsibility, personal responsibility. But I've got another solution for you with these 2 great governors over there, both of whom I like and admire. And I hate to tell you that the situation in Utah is pretty darn good, but I want to draw you to another example there. We embarked upon health care reform. We did better than Rick in terms of covering the uninsured, and we don't have a mandate. It allows the free market to create a marketplace of choices and options for people. I believe that once Obamacare is repealed, and it will be, the question will then be, what do we do now? And I'm here to tell you that what we did in Utah is going to be a perfect example of what we do now. We approach cost-cutting, cost overruns, harmonizing medical records, which doctors will tell you is a hugely consequential deal, and expanding the marketplace for choices and options for individuals to choose from without a heavy-handed and expensive mandate that has caused, for the average family in Massachusetts, $2,500 to go up.
Thanks, Governor. Governor Huntsman, everybody would like $2 gas, but is it realistic for a president to promise that?
Of course not. We live in the free market economy. I'm not sure that dictating prices is going to get you anywhere. But let's face the reality of where we are. This is a perfect example of where presidential leadership matters.
Got it.
To have a president who would actually walk out from behind the teleprompter, get out of the way, speak from your heart and soul. Just tell us about where you want this country to go in terms of what we have in such great abundance. Tell us where we think we can find that which we have and convert it into jobs and expanding our industrial base, and reminding the American people that they're not paying $4 per gallon for gas. When you add up the cost of troop deployments, when you add up the cost of keeping the sea lanes open for the importation of imported oil, the bulking, distribution, and terminaling costs, it's $13 a gallon, so says the Milken Institute. And I say the American people have had enough. We need a president who's going to provide a little bit of leadership in giving us some direction and opening up the opportunities.
We don't.
Governor Huntsman, the upside to this is I guess you could fly with your shoes on. The downside is who does the job the next day.
Let me just say, while this is an important discussion that we're having, we've spent about 15 minutes now on Homeland Security. The greatest gift we could give this country on the 10th year anniversary, Rick, is a Homeland Security Department that really works, that doesn't give people a sense when they walk through they're going to get shaken down, a department that doesn't make us all feel like there's a fortress security mentality that is not American. And I've got to say there's something wrong with that. But I'm guessing there are a whole lot of people tuned in around this country who are saying, why are we spending all this time talking about the smaller issues? We've got 14 million people unemployed. We've got millions more in this country who are so dispirited they've quit looking. This is a human tragedy that we're talking about. Moms and dads and families that completely go without. And all I would ask the people here and the people tuning in around this country, look at where we stand in terms of how we are going to get this country back on its feet. And I just want to point out that we have offered, based on where I've been and what I have done, as governor of a state where we became #1 in job creation, where we fixed the economy, made it the best economy for business in this entire country. We've got to get back on our feet. This is a crisis situation. While all these other issues are important, let's not lose sight, folks, of the bottom line here. We've got to get back in the game as a country. We've got to make this economy work. I would just have to say that I agree with so much of what has been said here today. President Reagan, when he made his decision back in 1987, he saw this as a human issue. And I hope that all of us, as we deal with this immigration issue, will always see it as an issue that revolves around real human beings. Yes, they came here in an illegal fashion, and yes, they should be punished in some form or fashion. I have 2 daughters who came to this country, one from China, one from India, legally. I see this issue through their eyes. We can find a solution. If President Reagan were here, he would speak to the American people, and he would lay out in hopeful, optimistic terms how we can get there, remembering full well that we're dealing with human beings here. We have to create. But let me just say one thing about legal immigration. Let's not lose sight of the fact that our legal immigration system is broken.
That's right.
And if we want to do something about attracting brain power to this country, if we want to lift real estate values, for example, why is it that Vancouver is the fastest growing real estate market in the world today? They allow immigrants in legally, and it lifts all boats, and we need to focus as much on legal immigration.
Governor Huntsman, you said some interesting things about pledges. Everyone up here has taken a pledge not to raise taxes. Dangerous business to you?
I'd love to get everybody to sign a pledge to take no pledges. I have a pledge to my wife, and I pledge allegiance to my country. But beyond that, no pledges. I think it diminishes the political discussion. I think it jeopardizes your ability to lead once you get there. And I started when I was approached when I first ran for governor in 2004. Someone who wanted to pin me down on taxes. I said, no thanks, I'm not going to sign it. I didn't raise taxes. We had historic tax cuts in our state. So look at somebody's record. That's always a pretty good indicator and barometer of where they're likely to go.
I wanted to go back to your comments on 9/11 to ask kind of an obvious follow-up. Do you think we're safer today?
I think we've lost our confidence as a country. I think we have had our innocence shattered. I think 10 years later, we look at the situation and we say, we have 100,000 troops in Afghanistan. This is not about nation building in Afghanistan. This is about nation building at home. Our core is broken. We are weak. We have got to strengthen ourselves. I say we've got to bring those troops home. In Afghanistan, the reality is it is an asymmetrical counter-terror effort. We need intelligence, we need special forces, and we need some training on the ground. But I think one way to commemorate our 10-year anniversary of 9/11, remembering the 3,000 plus people who died in New York and in Pennsylvania and in Washington, is to say it's time for this country to set a goal for ourselves. We're going to get our core fixed. We're going to do some nation building right here at home.
Time, Governor.
I've got a question. Your chief political advisor has been quoted very prominently as describing the Republican Party as, quote, a bunch of cranks, and said your opponents on the stage make a buffet of crazy and inane comments. I'm sure that's insulting to some of these people up here. We're now here face to face. Tell us which one of these people are saying crazy or inane things.
Well, I'm sure you have John Weaver's telephone number. You can go ahead and give him a call.
Okay.
But let me just say...
Let me hang on. Then let's follow up on that, because you speak for yourself. You yourself have said the party is in danger of becoming anti-science. Who on the stage is anti-science?
Listen, when you make comments that fly in the face of what 98 out of 100 climate scientists have said, when you call into question the science of evolution, all I am saying is that in order for the Republican Party to win, we can't run from science. we can't run from mainstream conservative philosophy. We've got to win voters. We've got to do what I did as governor when I was reelected. We reached out and we brought in independents. I got independents. I got conservative Democrats. If we're going to win in 2012, we've got to make sure that we have somebody who can win based upon numbers, the math that will get us there. And by making comments that basically don't reflect the reality of the situation, we turn people off. Number two, we've got to have somebody who can lead. This president was successful in getting elected. He can't lead this country. He can't even lead his own party. I'm here to tell you, I can get elected. I can bring the numbers together to make this successful in 2012, and I can lead based upon where I've been as governor.
Governor Perry,